Alright, everyone. Welcome back to
Unknown,
Unsolved
Unseen.
Triple U.
We're your host. I'm Frank,
I'm Sage.
and you guys are listening to episode 11, The Beaumont Children.
Woo! True crime.
Yeah, I don't know if I say woo true crime, but yeah, my first true crime one.
I meant woo as in, like, yeah, I like true crime.
Okay.
So, like, it's interesting to me, not woo that there's a true crime case that exists. That would be insensitive.
Good. Okay, good to clarify. So, this is my first true crime. I also want to say, we're making progress on the podcast. We're almost at the 3-month mark.
Woo!
Started September, 22nd?
Yeah, somewhere around
23rd was our first upload.
there. Yeah.
I only know because we still have the September calendar up in our office.
Oh, my bad. I'm a couple months behind, but it's no biggie.
Yeah, so we're almost at the 3-month mark. Thank you guys for all the listens you've given us. I think I'm going to get into the announcements for today's episode.
Go for it.
So first off, the Boobies Brewery ghost tours are still happening. Same dates as we listed last week. I believe that's what. Just taking a quick look. That is December 6th and 13th, right? So those are happening at Boobies Brewery in Lancaster, PA. I think we're going to try and make a visit out to one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then next week, for the next thing we have to talk about is the West Virginia Bigfoot Museum in Sutton, West Virginia, is holding its Yeti Fest on December 7th. There's some more details now out about it now. There will be a showing of Miracle on 34th Street, vendors, and fiddle music. There will be meet and greets with Les Odell, Mike Familent, I could be butchering it, and Daniel Benoit. So these are authors and people in the Bigfoot sphere. So there will be some special guests that include a Yeti, Bigfoot, Hillbilly Santa, the Grinch, and Huckleberry from Mountain Monsters. So
Awesome.
That's a bigger name. So I think we would both love to go, but that is quite the drive for Sage and I just can't justify that.
Yeah, at least not right now.
That's like a 5-6 hour drive for us.
Yeah.
So, in other Bigfoot Museum related news, this one's sad. The Bigfoot Discovery Museum in Santa Cruz is closing down.
Is that Santa Cruz, like California?
Yeah.
Okay.
How do you spell Santa? Is it like Santa Claus?
I think so.
Okay. I almost read Santa Claus, California.
Hey, it's that time of year though. You would be right on target.
True. The owner is retiring, so he's going to retire the museum as well as he's going to have to sell the house that it's in and is in what is now a residential zoning area. It was grandfathered in as a business, so whoever buys that property, it has to become a residential place now.
Oh, that's really sad.
So, yeah. I didn't see the date of when this is happening, but there's some hope that it might be bought by more Bigfoot enthusiasts. They're hoping from some of the people from Finding Bigfoot, as I believe this place was featured on that show.
Wait, so if someone bought it and wanted to keep the museum open, they could?
No.
So then
bought the stuff from the museum.
Oh, bought the stuff from the museum.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Yeah. So, if you're in the area in December 2024, go check it out. There isn't much time left to see it, but if you are listening and in that area and within this month, go check it out. But he's retiring. The guy is fairly old now. He has health complications, so he just can't keep doing it. Interesting thing, though, is this guy did witness Bigfoot. He had a Bigfoot sighting when he was 4 years old.
4?
Yeah.
It's impressive that he can remember that.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
That's what
very cool.
Inspired him.
Oh man, I wish I had an experience that inspired me to open a museum.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that either.
We're just gonna have to go looking.
So let's get into today's episode then.
Let's
Uh,
do it.
Sage, do you know anything about the Beaumont Children and disappearance around them?
I don't think I do. I recognize the name, but I don't believe that I have listened to any podcasts that have done an episode on
Do you
them.
know what area of the world it happened in?
No idea.
Australia, mate.
Okay.
What? Give me a stare.
That was a terrible accent.
You know what? You're probably right. But so we're going head on down under
Oh my god.
to
Is
the
this
land of
whole entire
Us.
episode just going to be jokes about Australia?
No, this is the only one. To the land of Australia today, and back to the year 1966.
Okay.
So let's start down in Adelaide, Australia. This is around the same place as the mysterious Somerton man.
I do know that one.
Yeah, so he was. This is the same area.
Okay.
I think same beach actually, maybe.
Okay. Because he's the man who was found, like, on the beach. And have they yet identified
I think
him?
they did. I don't know.
It was pretty recent that they did.
I think they did.
And it was
Well,
based off of the jacket that he was wearing.
yeah. Well, if it's still unexplained, we might cover it. If not, who knows? We might still cover it regardless.
It's a very, very interesting case, and it did take decades to figure out who it was.
Yeah, that was in the 1940s. So if it was only discovered recently, that is over 60 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
So let's go to January 26th, 1966, to Australia Day. So, just for background, Australia Day is to celebrate the day the first fleet arrived in Sydney Cove in Australia and raised the British flag.
Okay.
So, it was an exceptionally hot summer because that's their summer.
Right, right, right.
And the Beaumont family was lived in the area. There was Nancy and Grant, who were the parents. Grant went by Tom. No, sorry, Jim. That's what it is. Grant Jim Beaumont and Nancy Beaumont, and their three kids: Jane, age 9; Arna, age 7; and Grant, age 4. Three siblings. Um, they were there on. Well, they decided with these hot days, and it being the kind of holiday for them, they wanted to go to the beach. So on January 25th, they went down to the beach and had a wonderful time on their own and came back. And on January 26th, they want to do the same thing. Their parents let them go on their own to the beach because this was not uncommon back then. Kids back then had a lot more freedom and there wasn't as much stranger danger. Both parents were working that day, and so the kids went to the beach early that morning. And man, times have really changed.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You're saying that like a question.
Well, at first I was like, yeah, how have live times changed? Then I was like, wait, times have really changed.
Yeah, we don't just send kids out on their own to the beach.
No, especially not young ones. I can understand like older teenagers.
Yeah, the youngest there being 4 years old,
how
and the oldest being 9.
Oh wow, yeah, no, definitely not.
And then right in the middle, 7 for the next.
This would be like one of those things though, where like older generations would be like, well, back in my day.
Yep, this is a back in my day type story. So, they caught the bus to go down to the Glenelg Beach on what was described as a nice, very hot day. So why not go to the beach? They took the 8:45 bus in the morning and were expected to return by noon, but told to be home by 2 at the latest. I think they were told to be home 2 by the latest. I see some conflicting things in some sources. However, they never returned on the noon or 2 o'clock bus. This worried their mom, Nancy. Jim came home around 3 and still no children home. Jim took a drive with Nancy to the beach to look for them, but they couldn't find them anywhere. By the evening, with the children still not back, they went to police. I saw times ranging from 5 to 7 for when they went to the police. So they reported their children missing, let them know that they didn't come home, and gave descriptions of their kids. The police would spring into action immediately. This would kick off one of the largest searches in Australia's history. Hundreds of police would be involved in the search. The first place the police checked was Glenelg Beach. The first thought is they may have lost track of time and are still there, and then they started searching there. And eventually they couldn't find them and pivoted to the belief that they could have explored around and gotten lost, or possibly they drowned in the sea. They
Oh.
expanded this search and found nothing. The drowning idea doesn't go far, as none of their belongings were still at the beach. The water was calm, and there were plenty of lifeguards on duty that day, and they probably would have seen if three kids were struggling in the water and possibly drowning.
And they're certain that the kids were at the beach?
Yes, yes. Witnesses saw them there.
Okay.
We'll get into the witnesses then. So, as nothing was being found, new ideas came up. The idea that they ran away became a possibility, and the possibility of foul play now came to the minds of many. Boats were looking in the water, airports and railroads were notified, and roadblocks were set around the Adelaide area. Volunteers started joining in as well on foot, and taxi drivers were on the lookout too, as Jim, the father, was a former taxi driver. This became a large scale search of both public services and volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is considered one of the largest searches in all of Australia's history. I don't know, it might be the largest, but I've seen some call it the largest, many places call it one of the largest.
Oh, wow. That's so sad.
So, within 24 hours of the initial disappearance, the story was everywhere across the nation. It was a top story, and it was also starting to circulate globally as well. So, where we're at right now is that three Beaumont children went to the beach on their own and never returned. This led to a large police search that so far turned up nothing. No kids, no bodies, or any of their belongings. What are you thinking comes next?
Um, I don't know. I guess they would just continue to be searching for them?
Yeah, well, we're going to go into the sightings and what people reported.
Oh, okay.
Because the police implored anybody to give them any tips and evidence possible.
And this was all three, like, Beaumont children.
Yep, all the.
There were no other siblings at all?
Nope,
Oh my
all.
gosh, so these parents lost all three of their kids.
Yes,
Wow, that is such a shame.
I know, it really is terrible.
Ugh.
So, with this happening in such a populated place, there had to have been some witnesses, right? Well, this is where we begin to get into the weeds of the disappearance and complicate the plot.
Well, you said there was witnesses that saw them at the beach, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So, the coming month became a wild storm as thousands of tips would come in, and we're going to go over some of them because with thousands of them, we can't go over all of them, and there are plenty of them that are to no use.
Were there people who, like, just called in?
I believe so, and just saw like kids in random areas, and then thought they were maybe the Beaumont kids.
I hate that. That's something that, like, you see a lot in true crime, is that people will, like, call in and just make, like, bogus tips.
Oh,
Just, like, for shits
trust
and
me.
giggles.
Later on, you're going to see that there were people decades after detectives making very, very bad calls on bogus tips.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, a restraining order comes up even.
Oh my god.
The Adelaide police station was woefully unprepared for this. They had one phone at the time for all these tips and reports coming in. We're talking 1966.
One phone?
They never had anything of this scale before. One phone for tips
Oh my gosh.
and all this stuff.
I'm trying to think, like, to the Carbondale episode. Like, I feel like even for that tiny town, I feel like they had more than
That was
one.
1980s, right? No, 1970s.
Yeah.
But
74.
but like there had been like no huge thing like this, and this event is considered the tipping point and turning point for a lot of Australia. And I don't know how it affected the rest of the world, but at least in Australia, this changed how people treated their kids and let them out alone and whatnot.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, if you have three kids who don't disappear of their own volition,
Yep.
I wouldn't let my kids out.
Yeah. So the first sighting, well, actually,
I wouldn't let my kids out without supervision. I guess I should say.
yeah. So sightings and tips I'm going to go through first are the ones that come from the day of the disappearance, as those are the most important. They are the most credible and the only concrete ones that can be really verified.
Okay.
Anything else besides these ones of the day of, there's a lot of doubt to everything else.
Okay.
So the first one we'll look into is the neighborhood postman. That's a mailman for any confused Americans.
I feel like people could deduce that,
I
but
hope
thank you.
so. So he saw the three kids holding hands and laughing. One source said this was early in the morning. Another said he eventually told police it was at um, 1 or 2 p.m. And then he said actually it might have been closer to 3. And then he changed it back to he actually saw them in the morning before they were missing at the time.
How is this considered a credible tip if
Well, he knows the kids by name. He's like is in that time that he's very familiar with who they are. But I guess he might just not been taking the detail into account for when he saw them during the day.
well, like couldn't he um
Remember where he was on his route?
yeah, like
That's what
remember
I
where
would
he's
have thought.
and then like then he could base time off of that.
That's what I would have thought, but I guess he eventually settled on in the morning from what I saw.
So how is that even helpful if
But he
they
saw
aren't considered disappeared or what the heck?
I don't know.
They're not considered
He at least in the morning they were not with anyone suspicious.
disappeared? They're not considered
Missing.
missing? Sorry, I'm
So
not laughing at the fact that they're missing. I'm laughing that it took me forever to figure out what the word
yeah.
was.
So if this was in the afternoon, he would have no idea that they were late to getting home. And if it was in the morning, he had no idea something was going to go down, so he didn't really probably take much note. But he did mention that they were holding hands, laughing, and running along. They
Oh,
looked
well,
happy.
at least they appeared happy at that time.
Yeah, so he was familiar with them. So, through witness tips, it was determined that around noon that the kids were seen at Wenzel's Bakery, which is by the beach. This was around 12:20 to 12:30. Jane had bought pastries and a meat pie. Their mother did give them food. Sorry, no, the mother gave them money. I don't know why I said food. I have it typed wrong here. But their mother gave them money, so nothing too suspicious until it was found out that Jane used a £1 note. This is Australian money to all of our American listeners. I don't know these conversions. I don't know how their money breaks down.
Okay, why is
But
that strange though?
their mother only gave them 6 shillings and 6 pence.
So Jane had $1 from like $1, a pound or note,
Yeah,
whatever.
significantly more than what she had, and she didn't even pay for the money she was given.
Huh. So who gave money? Where was this at
Yep.
again?
Wenzel's Bakery, which is by the beach, not too far from it.
I wonder if someone, maybe the kidnapper, like paid her
Well,
money to like go get them something to like make them.
maybe because so where did this money come from? We'll get into some ideas. It's also reported that the kids did not like meat pies, so to buy one was also off.
My true crime senses are tingling.
So you got two suspicious aspects to it.
Yeah, buying something they don't like with money that they were not given by their
Yep.
parents. Okay.
Well, there's belief that they got the money from a man they were seen with.
Men. Suspicious.
So let's get into the sightings of them with this unknown man. So multiple witnesses stated that they saw the kids in the area with a man described as in his 30s, tall, thin face, white, suntanned, athletic build, blonde, wearing blue swim trunks with a white stripe down the side, and with an Australian accent.
Okay. First of all, they're in Australia, and I get that that is a tourist location, but also like the fact that it has
But it
a.
means he's somebody from the area, so that helps determine things.
Yeah, I know. I just think that's interesting, but also that description outside of the blue swim trunks is every man in Australia.
Well, they did make. Well, I'll get into it.
Okay, sorry,
Um,
I'm jumping ahead.
so it seemed the kids were comfortable with him. So either they knew him, or they went willing and were a bit naive, which the parents think was off. Now, I did see one source that said that apparently Arna, the middle child, she had told their mom before that Jane had gotten a boyfriend, an older boyfriend, when they were at the beach, and her mom didn't think much of it. So this might be somehow related to that, but I didn't see many places citing this source.
I'm sorry, Jane's the 9-year-old?
Yes.
She has an older boyfriend?
I don't. Arna might not have understood what boyfriend means. It might have been some guy grooming them.
That's what
But
I'm saying. Like, if it's this guy based on this description, that's not someone who's 10 or 11 as
yeah,
an
I know.
older.
I know.
Like, that's scary.
But exactly,
And it's
and
scary that the mom, like, and not, I don't know
but
how.
I don't. This source also I've only seen it one place. I didn't see anywhere else, so that could be wrong. They were seen leaving the beach with him around 12:15, so that was about 5 to 15 minutes before they were seen at the bakery.
Okay.
So around the time they were supposed to be getting home, this is when this was all taking place. So they didn't leave the beach till 12:15. They should have been home on the noon bus.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already past the time.
Well, weren't they given until 2 at the latest?
Yeah.
Okay.
But still, probably shouldn't cut that close. So,
Would they have a way of knowing what time it was?
yeah,
Like someone had a
there
watch or?
definitely would have been something.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming this might just be my young naive self, but you've seen those like little clock like lamp posts. Have you seen those before?
Yeah. Do you think that they
They
still
probably had those on older
still
times.
existed in the 60s?
Oh, probably. They have
Okay.
smartphones and stuff,
True.
but there had to have been a way for them to tell time. But stranger danger wasn't as big of a thing back then, so it was a different time back then with a very different culture, very different than today's society. Sadly, cases like this are what got us to realize the true dangers.
Yeah.
On this suspect, there is a police sketch that was made of him, and it is compared to multiple of the suspects that we'll go into later. I'll probably post it on the Instagram for our thing, a picture of the Beaumont Children and of the suspect.
Okay.
So the Australian accent comes from a witness who actually had the guy come up to her and ask her if she had seen anyone go by the children's belongings, and because he mentioned that the children's money was allegedly stolen and somebody had gone through their money and clothing. So apparently he cared enough about their money being stolen.
Maybe that was
I don't know.
why they
Or he was
he
trying to
could
see
have
if anybody was watching, anybody else was watching.
that too, or like he was saying that, and then maybe that's why he gave them the money that he did, so that if other people, like if a trail was found, it was like, oh well, he offered them money because like the little girl's money was stolen.
Yep. So, there's one last sighting of them, and the kids were seen playing in sprinklers around Collie Reserve during the day with the unknown man, which that's just like a little park in the area. It's not far from the beach and the bakery.
No one like thought it was weird
Nope.
that like these three kids who they know.
Well, these people don't all know the kids,
Okay,
so
surely somebody knew though.
nobody was none the wiser there.
Hmm.
So these sightings are the most credible and the last of the credible ones. The rest are harder to verify. These are all from the day of, and they all have similar things with the guy and
Okay.
description of him. And like the bakery shop, that one's like undeniable from what I see. Like that's a confirmed hard fact.
Okay.
So let's go into some of these other sightings. Uh, the Patawalonga boat haven was drained on January 29th. This had 70 acre surface area, so this was not a small task. This was because a woman said that she talked to three children fitting the description at 7 p.m. on the day of the disappearance. Nothing was found in this effort, and a lot put in for no result. Couldn't be confirmed. Hers was not one of the ones that is a confirmation.
So they
Drained a
drained
boat haven.
70 acres of water
Yeah.
off of a. Okay. I mean, I appreciate
Yeah,
the
but
work that they
nothing
put
was
in on the
found.
tip, but that's a shame that nothing was found
Yep.
for all of that work.
One woman said she saw three kids, all fitting the description, entering a house next to hers. This was a vacant house, and they eventually left, but she'd seen the man with him. This allegedly happened the day of the disappearance, and she only reported it a month after it happened, and she never gave her a reason for saying it so late.
Wow. Is first of all, did anyone check on her?
I don't know any further on that.
Sketchy. But are the witness descriptions of the man across all of the tips the same?
Yeah,
Okay, so
relatively same. I believe the blue trunks, the slender build, like the tall build, the athletic build, the slender, skinny face is one thing that's put out a lot, and the blonde
okay,
hair.
so at least that part of it's like more
Yeah.
credible.
One family claimed to see three kids in the boot of a car. For Sage and the other
No, I know what that
Americans,
means.
oh, the boot is the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
I knew that, but I assume this is one that some people might not know.
No, I think that Jackson on Red Thread,
Yeah.
he there was an episode where they talked about
The
trunks and Wendigoon had to keep saying boot because that's what Jackson wrote in the script.
yeah, so that's this trunk butt. Back on the main. So a family claimed to have seen three kids in the boot of a car. Nothing really much else. No confirmation of it.
How too? Like, is it
I
a
don't.
sedan or is it like a?
No idea.
Okay.
There were many other sightings during the year, but none notable enough to bring up, or none that I could find. These were the more notable ones that people brought up.
Okay.
So let's get into. Actually, I'm going to. I'm just going to get to the letters now. These real quick. What time are we at?
29.
Okay, go. We're making good time. So moving on from sightings, we're going to get into something more tangible to move on to another mysterious part. There were letters sent to the family, to Nancy and Jim Beaumont.
Like ransom letters?
This took place. I'll let you know. This took place about 2 years after the initial disappearance in
2 years?
1968. Yes,
Wow.
the Beaumont parents received a letter regarding their children. The first letter was sent to the parents. Was allegedly written by the eldest daughter, Jane. In it, she wrote about how the man had taken them, treats them so well, and even took them to see The Sound of Music, and he's such a nice guy. The letter also said that the children would be returned if the parents would meet them and not involve the police or anybody else. So,
Wow.
interesting. The
It,
parents went to the location, but they did have a detective in disguise trailing them. They got there and waited, and no one came to deliver them their children.
oh,
Dismayed, they left.
oh my god, that's devastating.
A second letter was sent accusing the Beaumonts of betraying the person who had their children, and that they had seen the disguised detective.
Oh,
The
wow.
children would be kept by the man, and he would be their legal guardian now. This was in the letter that he would be their legal guardian.
Well, I mean, that's not how that works. But also, like,
Yep.
that's, like, pretty credible that if,
Yeah.
like, the second letter saying, like,
So
I know that you brought someone with you, and they did.
so analysis at first confirmed that the letter was actually written by Jane, and this was believed for at least 13 years after the letter was written, with news articles still written about it. However, in 1992, thanks to advancements in fingerprint analyzing technology, they were able to determine that the letters were indeed a hoax done by a prankster.
Literally, fuck that person.
And they tracked down who it was.
Good. I hope
He
that
never
they.
faced any charges because the statute of limitations had elapsed.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Wow. That makes me so mad. That is so much worse than calling in a bogus tip. That is horrific to do that to the parents.
Yeah, that happened. And
Wow.
maybe he actually went there and saw the detective, or he might just taken a guess. But it was a prankster.
I wow, I have no faith in some people
Yeah,
in this humanity.
that's actually horrid.
I can't even imagine the pain that that put those parents through.
Yep.
And the fact that he couldn't get charged because of a statute of limitations.
Yep. So they
Unbelievable.
actually went there with
Thinking
the.
that they were going to have their
Yep.
children
They had
back.
a detective with him. The police were involved,
Oh,
and for people to credibly say it actually was Jane up until 1992.
isn't that
So
longer?
that's
What year was this in?
1968.
So the
24 years.
so then how was the letter good for
And
13 years?
well, that's the last time I saw an article about it. But the idea that was real started to break down a little bit from what I
Oh,
saw.
okay.
But um, 13 years after it, there are still news articles being written because I found one in the newspapers online.
Wow.
But expert analysis of handwriting, like handwriting analysis, showed that it was Jane, but they did track down the guy who admitted to it.
Yeah, I'm guessing he just drew like a 9-year-old would. Like he wrote just like
Probably.
a 9-year-old would.
So we'll move on to where this gets a bit more interesting.
As if it
There's
wasn't already interesting enough.
there's connections to similar crimes. So this episode does involve another unsolved crime in it.
Okay.
So, um, going on from the notes, there were some other crimes that happened in the following years that bear some similarities to the disappearance of the Beaumont children. They're speculated to be by the same individual who abducted the Beaumont children in 1966.
Wow.
So on August 25th, 1973, Joanne Ratcliffe, 11 years old, and Kirsty Gordon, 4 years old, were at a soccer match or football for our international crowd at the Adelaide Oval. So they were still in Adelaide.
Okay.
There were around 13,000 spectators at this game. Joanne was there with her parents, and Kirsty was there with her grandmother. And they were sitting next to each other. But I had a misspelling here. So it's Kirsty, and I accidentally wrote Christy on some of these. So Kirsty needed to use the bathroom, and Joanne volunteered to take her to the bathroom. Joanne's parents had a rule that for her to go to the bathroom, she had to go while the game was going, so they didn't go when it was overcrowded in between.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So they went while the game was going on. Um, Most people were still watching the game at the time, and there was no issue. And when they eventually, Kirsty had to go again in the third quarter, and they went and they never returned.
Wow.
So,
Does
um,
soccer have quarters?
I guess some do. Normally 2 periods. But I found that
Maybe
interesting.
Australian soccer's different.
I don't know. So it's also rules of games evolve over time.
Yeah, true.
We are not a sports history podcast.
Definitely not. Although I might be able to tell you at least a little bit of stuff about hockey.
True. So there were witnesses that saw the two girls with a skinny-faced man in his 40s, and wearing a wide-brimmed hat and a tweed jacket. One witness, a 13-year-old Anthony Kilmartin, was selling drinks and candy at the stand. He witnessed the man pick up the younger girl, Kirsty, and head towards the gate. Joanne chased after him and was punching him and kicking him, so the
Oh.
man grabbed her arm and pulled her along with him.
Oh my gosh, that's so sad.
And they are screaming and yelling.
And no one did anything?
Sue Laurie, who was 14 at the time, witnessed the event and assumed it was just a family argument.
Oh.
So people just thought it was, it's grandfather or something taking his kids and they want to stay and watch a game.
Okay.
So, and 90 minutes later, a driver saw them. I think it was like 2 miles away from the place, and noticed a child in distress. But he decided not to interfere. Didn't really give much of a reason. I just think he didn't want to get involved. The bystander effect. So that was the last sighting. Kirsty and Joanne were never seen again.
Wow.
A sketch was made from witness descriptions, and it bore a resemblance to the sketch that was made for the man who abducted the Beaumont children. It was the same area.
Hmm.
It's believed by authorities that this is the same guy. There's a
Okay.
strong belief that this was probably the same guy.
Well, like the description sounds similar.
Yep. And the way he did it sounds similar too.
Yeah.
Waited for nobody to be around and found unsuspecting children.
Yeah.
We're going to go back to the Beaumonts then in all of this. Jumping a bit back to 1966 because I found this in the research after I found that crime connection. Um, so back to 1966. As the month went on, evidence was scarce and the search was making no progress. Conspiracies were brought up, but nothing to solve. Sorry, theories were brought up. I don't know why I wrote conspiracies. Theories were brought up, but nothing to solve the crime was presented. But some took a more alternative method to try and solve this crime. A method I'm just going to say I don't condone or recommend to solve this.
Mm-hmm.
A rich real estate developer decided to take a different approach. He flew in a Dutch psychic, Gerard Croiset. Croiset had claimed to have had visions of the children's fate, and that they were dead and that they are being buried under a factory, which is what drew the attention of the real estate developer.
Wow.
According to the children, according to Croiset, the children were trapped under the floor of a brick factory that was being used as a warehouse. With absolutely no evidence, the authorities refused to entertain these claims. However, there were plenty who believed this to be credible and raised $40,000 to have this checked. In 1967, excavation was done and nothing was found, which I think is no surprise. The authorities and local government said, "Do not do this. We know you raised money. Do not do this," and they did it, and they found nothing.
Oh man, those poor parents have just been like. I feel like they've just been put through the ringer with false hope.
Yeah, and then the psychic, he later said that the man the children were seen with was unrelated to their disappearance, and that the kids had died in an accident. He
What?
said it was most likely a cave along the beach, and it was a cave in, and they just couldn't find the right cave. Yeah, I think this guy was a waste of time to call in and spend all that money for.
Yeah, and that is so, unfortunately, so common.
I
Like, it's
hate it
so
because,
common that
well,
psychics.
Gabby Petito, when she disappeared, there were psychics on TikTok saying they knew where she was. When the cops were getting close to the location, they're like, "No, you're looking at the wrong place. You're looking at the wrong place." And even when they found Gabby Petito's body, they the psychics still fought against it.
Yeah, and like, listen, I mean, if you're here listening to this podcast, you're either a fantastic family member or you are somebody who is interested in the unknown, the unsolved, and the unseen. So people who like say that they are mediums or psychics or things like are things that you want to believe, right? Like we want to believe these things. We want to be like to believe that people have this connection to the world and the other side, like the other dimensions and like things like that. But my God, to use that in an investigation, like, and just such a, like, that's so hurtful in so many different ways. I'm sure that at some point, like, there had to be something that went right with someone who claimed they were a psychic for it to continue to be trusted over and over again. But I just feel like in every true crime case that I hear that kind of stuff, like, it's always just like some wildly bogus claim. And it's like so sad.
Yeah, I mean, psychics who try and solve crimes, I think I just do not respect that because so often it's so wrong.
Yeah, it's
And
like horrible.
there's a whole South Park episode on it.
Ugh.
Yeah, so we're gonna move on from that shitty psychic.
Okay.
Screw that guy.
Yeah, literally. Poor
So on to
girl,
some
or they.
other reports and incidents. So there's a few more things to bring up before I get into the suspects. In 1986, there were 3 suitcases found in a garbage dump that were full of newspaper clippings about the Beaumont children. Many of the papers had notes with red ink written on them.
Hmm.
However, only days later, people came forward saying that this was their elderly relative's possessions, and that relative had become obsessed with the case and had recently passed away. They put all of her stuff in suitcases and threw it out.
Okay. Interesting way to throw things out, but alright.
Look, if you have a crazy relative and you just want to get rid of their ramblings that are on paper, I guess just dump it all in a
What
suitcase.
if something was in there, though? What if something good? Some information? Or like a theory?
I do not believe in armchair investigators versus the cops. For this being the largest search at the time for Australia, I'm going to guess this elderly armchair investigator probably did not have anything useful.
Are we
Also,
not armchair detectives?
I'm not trying to give answers. Okay, I'm saying what happened.
Okay.
But I also think that I believe that people went through these notes probably pretty thoroughly because it was weird as hell,
True.
and nothing of value was found.
Okay.
In 1977, a detective who worked on the case, uh, he believed that they were abducted and raised by a cult. And this is the same detective that followed the Beaumonts to the letter drop-off location, like where they
Hmm.
picked me up. He believed that they were abducted and raised by a cult. No evidence to back this up. He became uh, quite, consumed by the case going forward, and he believed that Jane Beaumont was still alive and living in Canberra. That's around 745 miles or 1,200 kilometers away from Adelaide. It was investigated, and the woman was confirmed not to be Jade. This woman had to then put a file for a restraining order more than once against this guy.
She a detective?
Yeah, I mean,
What
he was a
the
retired
heck?
detective.
Still, you would think
Yeah,
that like
but he
he
was
would
so,
understand.
and he stood by his claim that they were abducted and raised by a cult.
Oh my gosh. Also, how did he like come across this woman and decide that that person was Jane?
I don't know. I didn't see the details behind it.
750 miles away. I mean, like in Australia, right? The big cities are pretty far
Yeah,
apart, right?
Australia is fairly spaced out.
Okay.
This is a good example of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in 2013, there was a potential development in the crime. Two brothers came forward and said a man named Harry Phipps had asked them to dig a hole at the factory he owned. They believed that it had been made for the children. Now, they only came forward after he became named the suspect in 2013. The place was excavated twice, once in 2013 and once in 2018. First time there was nothing found, and the next time it was just junk and animal bones.
Hmm.
Because they'd done some stuff and figured out that there was a disturbance and some stuff still in there, and that's what they found.
Yeah.
So, if you're good, Sage, I would like to get into the potential suspects in this case.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is a few of them.
Okay.
So, we're going to go into that guy I just mentioned, Harry Phipps.
Okay.
So, let's get into the first one, and so he was a local factory owner and died in 2004. The idea of him being a suspect came up in 2013 after the publication The Satin Man, uncovering the mystery of the Beaumont Children. I did not read this book, unfortunately, because I did not learn about it until it was too late. But after this book came out, Phipps' son confirmed that his dad was the Satin Man being talked about in this book, because Phipps was not named in the book.
Okay.
But his son, Hayden, said it was him.
Okay.
So, Phipps was part of the Adelaide social elite, meaning he would possibly have the power to keep his dirty deeds hidden. He was known for giving out £1 notes, like used at the bakery. He resembled the police sketch, and it was later found out he had a sexual interest in children.
Yeah.
And he also lived by the beach, so a local in the area. So on the day of the disappearance, Jane had a white clipped money purse. After Harry Phipps passed away, Stuart Mullins, co author of The Satin Man, came to the house to interview Phipps' wife. Stuart found a purse that was almost identical to the one Jane had in the basement of Phipps's house.
Wow.
He questioned Phipps' wife on it, and she claimed that she had just bought it a few weeks ago. He asked her what it was doing in the basement, and especially in pristine condition. She told him that he should leave.
Hmm.
When police came later to check the purse, Phipps' wife had thrown it out.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
Now,
Okay.
that is suspicious and could have been done to hide evidence or to try and not put scrutiny on her late husband.
This is definitely suspicious.
It's suspicious. But it could also be to try and not, drag his name further. But who knows?
I mean, I get it. Like I get that, but and like I can't say what I would do if that was the situation that I was put in. But like, come really?
And I forgot to mention that happened in 2004.
Okay.
So that was before the whole entire 2013 book.
Oh, okay.
Um, Investigations by police into Phipps didn't start until 2007 when Phipps' son Hayden came forward saying that his father sexually abused him and that he had seen the kids with his father in their yard on January 26, 1966, the day of the disappearance.
Wow.
After Hayden's passing, though, in 2016, his younger brother Wayne claimed that Hayden was mentally ill and that their father did none of the things alleged by Hayden.
How would he know, though?
I don't know.
Ugh. Wow.
And the investigations never determined if Phipps was the person or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard whenever he's dead, and his wife obviously doesn't want to cooperate with it, and other family members are saying it's all fake.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to the next suspect, Derek Ernst Percy.
Okay.
So he was suggested in 2007 by The Age, which is like a news group, I guess.
Oh, okay.
So Derek Percy is a convicted child murderer and was serving a life sentence for murder in 1969 up to his death in 2013.
Wow.
For his first murder, he was found not guilty by reason of insanity. He had a psychological condition that made it hard for him to remember things as well on this. So it's hard for him to remember the details of what he had done. But like he still spent life in prison.
Did they say what psychological
I didn't
condition?
see any details on what it was.
Okay.
I also didn't spend too much time on him because he's not really a good suspect. It's
Okay.
believed he did other murders than just the one he was convicted of, like the one he was reason of insanity for.
Mm-hmm.
But he was in jail then from 1969 up to his death.
Was he in
So
jail or was he in a hospital?
I saw jail or prison, whatever,
That's
but
weird
I
that they
could be
would put
wrong.
someone who's not guilty by reason of insanity in
Is that
prison.
not where you put somebody?
Well, I mean, I don't know how Australia works, but I would assume that someone who is not guilty by reason of insanity would go into
I don't know.
like mental health hospital
No idea.
security ward rather than
I could be
general
wrong
pop.
in some of my reporting, and I'm sorry if I am to anybody listening.
No, that's okay. It's just
Yeah.
something I was curious
I
about.
didn't spend too much time on him because I'm going to break down why it probably wasn't
Yeah,
him.
no, that's good.
So he was questioned on the Beaumont Children's disappearance and said that he was at the beach, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, with his family on that day of the disappearance.
Okay.
Because he was only 19 at the time.
And how old was the person described?
In his 30s is what was described.
Was this was this guy? Did he just look older, or
I
was he?
guess he just looked like he was in his 30s.
Well, I'm saying like this 19-year-old. Is he someone who that looked older?
Not, well, facial structure, yes. Like, at least from the shape of his face. Well, I'll get into that.
Okay.
So he was questioned on it, and he could remember that he was there, but he said because of his condition, he couldn't confirm or deny if he was responsible for what happened there.
Okay.
So, like, he knew he was in the area for Australia Day, but he doesn't know if he did anything bad that day.
That to me
So his
is interesting.
face shape was similar, and that's the main thing and location to link him, and that he was a known killer. So he was born in 1948. No, sorry, he wouldn't be 19. He would be 17 at the time.
Wow.
I don't think he would look close enough to the other description, which this conflicts with the age estimates of others. And on top of it, he was there with his family, and he could not be confirmed if he had a way to get away with the children if he
Yeah.
was really the person. And he was also in jail for when the Adelaide Oval disappearances. And there's a strong belief by authorities that the person who abducted Kirsty and Janet was the same person who abducted the Beaumonts.
Okay.
So Derek Ernest Percy is not really a good suspect.
Okay. That makes sense.
Now we get into a more interesting one. Arthur Stanley Brown. He was born in 1912 and died in 2002. So in 1998, he was charged with the abduction and murders of the sisters Judith and Susan McKay, ages 7 and 5. I know I just keep adding more disappearance and murders of kids in here.
That is definitely really heartbreaking.
So these two young girls were abducted on their way to school, and 2 days later, their bodies were found naked in a dry creek bed, and they had been raped.
Oh
Their clothes were neatly folded next to their bodies, which
my
is
gosh.
a key fact.
Wow.
His trial was delayed because his lawyer claimed that he was unfit to be tried due to his dementia and Alzheimer's. He was never retried and died a free man um, 4 years after he was charged.
Wait. How long between when the girls were found
1970?
and
I
when was
don't.
he charged?
1998.
Okay.
Sorry, forgot to mention that those murders happened in 1970. So yeah,
I don't know if
he
you didn't
died in
mention it. I just didn't
2002.
hear.
So he's charged in 1998, and in 2002 he died in a nursing home at
Okay.
the age of 90.
That would explain the dementia aspect. I thought you meant that
Yep. No,
he
sorry.
had it while he was abducting them, and I was like, wow, that's a lot to go on from there.
So he was being charged with the rape of 6 children, the McKay
Wow.
murders, and 45 sexual assaults. Never convicted on any of those.
Wow.
Yeah. So the big thing that connected him, well, the one thing that connects him to some of the other abductions is that Sue Laurie, one of the witnesses to the abduction of Kirsty and Janet at the Adelaide Oval, um, for that soccer game.
Mhm.
You remember the one that said she saw was a family argument? She
Yeah.
recognized Arthur Stanley Brown as the man from the day with the two girls whenever she saw him on the TV when he was being charged in 1998.
Wow.
So, I mean, eyewitness testimony you always got to take with a grain of salt, too.
Yes, definitely.
So, on him, he was a meticulous man who neatly folded everything, and he had a
Mm.
way, and that is how they connected him with the McKay murders. Part of the way they connected him. I don't know everything else.
Because of the folded, like their
Yep.
folded clothes.
I guess there's a lot of other evidence too to it because the police now consider the case closed and firmly believe that he was the man responsible.
Wow. Okay.
So, he also had a car matching the description of the one in the McKay murders, and he got rid of it not long after the murders, according to family members. And well, no, he got rid of it, and that's just fact, and because he didn't want people questioning him and everything. And
Mhm.
according to family members, he was obsessed with the murders and other murders of women. He had a door in his house that was locked from the outside.
Okay. Door to where?
It was just like a room. And in there are like books about true crime and murders and wine and whatnot. And you weren't supposed to go in there apparently.
But there was no like chains, beds,
No,
anything like that. Was there a secret entrance to anything else from within that room?
not that I could see.
Okay.
So many family members allege that he molested them, and some speculate he murdered his first wife when she learned the truth. But her death has not been deemed a murder, so there's no concrete proof to that. But it's believed that she learned what he was doing and wouldn't allow kids around him anymore. So she eventually died, and he remarried to her sister that he was cheating on her with.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense.
But he also claimed he was never in Adelaide in his life. But conversations with others proved otherwise. And based on what he describes he had seen in Adelaide to somebody, would put him in the time frame of at least the Adelaide Oval abductions.
Okay.
So he matched the description of the sketch of the man for both disappearances. But for the Oval disappearance, the guy was wearing a wide brim hat. That was more common for people who were from where the area where he lived around, a different area of Australia.
Okay.
And there are pictures of him with a wide brimmed hat. But in some areas of Australia at the time, it was more common to wear them there. And in the Adelaide area, it was not common for somebody to wear one there. But he's from an area where that was common. And the
Okay.
guy who abducted the kids at the Oval was seen wearing one.
Yeah, I mean, like that's definitely interesting. I do think that some of this evidence, though, is really circumstantial.
So he would have also been 53 at the time of the Beaumont disappearance. So he wouldn't match the descriptions of the man who had been seen that day on age-wise, but some other parts of it maybe. He is more linked to the Oval disappearance and not really at all to the Beaumont disappearance.
Okay.
He fits more descriptions of one but not the other.
Well, I think too, like, if you think about it, To be able to abduct 3 kids, like that's takes a lot of work. Not
Yeah.
that I don't think someone in their 50s is has the strength
Well,
or ability to do so, but that's a lot to
he
keep up with.
technically, if he was 53 at the time of the ones with the Beaumonts, uh, it was 2 years later, no, 4 years later. So when he was 57, that he did the McKay murders,
Yeah, and like
and he
that.
never got caught till 1998.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
he did cover his tracks, but he would want to take people out to where the kids, those two were found dead, and wanted to show it off to people and whatnot.
Ew, that's so creepy.
Yeah. So
What the heck?
I don't know what all the evidence was, but there's enough to definitively link him to the McKay. But there is belief that he could have been the one behind the Beaumont one.
Okay.
And we're going to go into the last one I have. There are a few others that are not as talked about, but I didn't really have the time to go through all of the suspects.
Okay.
Just really the four most notable that I saw. So Bevan Spencer von Einem is the next. So he is currently still alive, unlike the other three.
Wow.
Von Einem is currently serving a life sentence for murdering teenager Richard Kelvin in 1984. While in prison, an informant known as Mr. B claimed that Von Einem had bragged about abducting 3 kids from the beach in Adelaide and had done brilliant surgery, that's like verbatim what was said, and connected the 3 children together. One of them died during this operation, so he killed the other two to finish it because it wouldn't work with one dead.
Oh my god.
He then dumped the bodies in the bushland south of Adelaide. He also implicated himself in the Adelaide Oval abductions as well, claiming that he also took two little girls from a football game.
How much of this information was in
It was
the papers and stuff though?
I probably a good amount.
Because like to me, I'm thinking like he's
Yep.
probably just read that stuff.
Yeah, and that is
Like,
one belief is that he might have been just trying to hype up what he did. Now,
well, I just think that it sounds like he only had the information that was released to the public. It doesn't sound like he had
yeah.
anything
Well,
additional.
if they could have found the bodies, then maybe they could have confirmed something, but nothing's been found. We have Sage's parents' dogs right now, and she's sleeping, and she does some little sleep barks when she sleeps, like oh, woof, 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 woof. So apparently, our podcast is soothing enough to put a dog to sleep.
Or we're just boring.
Keep that in. So back on this, he does bear a resemblance to the sketch, but he was only 19 at the time of the disappearances. He was a known perv at the beach, though.
Ugh.
So he was a local to the area. He is known to be a perv there.
Okay, I mean that like that's suspicious for sure.
And the informant Mr. B was able to relay stuff as well about the murder he was convicted on that was deemed credible.
Okay,
So he did brag about things that was credible enough to help in his conviction.
I just want to say this because this is some human centipede ass shit with children. So even if like let's to me that doesn't sound credible. Like I don't think that he's the one who did it. But the fact that anyone could come up in their brain with the thought of like
Well,
sewing kids together,
I'll get into that a little bit here.
that's so fucked.
In his convicted murder, in the murder he was convicted on, and others thought to be him, there are multiple other murders that are believed to be by him but cannot be confirmed yet. It was found that there were surgical experiments done to the bodies.
Oh my god.
Most of his alleged victims are teenage boys, but there is a chance he did branch out because that is not uncommon.
Wow.
He has refused to cooperate with authorities at all on this.
That's suspicious for sure.
Yeah. So that is the last of the suspects. So
Wow.
that's what I have. As I said, there are some other suspects, but not too much on them. They're harder to find information on, and I was running out of time, I'll be honest.
That's okay.
The other ones have mostly been ruled out by authorities and not covered as much. This case has changed how parents watched over their children in Australia. It's, as I said earlier, considered the turning point in how parents dealt with their kids in public
Yeah.
and letting them go on their own. Sadly, Nancy and Jim divorced after this,
Oh.
and both have passed away, never having closure on this. Nancy passed away in September of 2019 at the age of 92,
Oh.
and Grant passed away in April of 2023 at the age of 97.
Oh my God. So they went like almost 60 years
Yep.
not knowing. Wow. Who took their children. That is so devastating. I
This
can't
ca-
even imagine that.
the case is still open, and there is a substantial reward for it. 1 million in U.S. dollars. I don't really think I can say who I think did it. I think the three suspects all have very compelling facts to them, and there's also compelling things to say they're not them.
Yeah.
There's never no one who fully lines up, but until you know the truth, somebody could have been wrong on one of their things they described, or you really have to go back then, but it's so
Yeah.
long ago.
Wow.
I just think Derek Percy, definitely not him from what I saw. He was also in prison when the Oval abductions happened.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that definitely changes things.
So yeah. So Sage, what are your thoughts on this? And do you think any of those three individuals did it, or four?
Um. I mean, just this is devastating. Just absolutely devastating for the family. Um. For the kids, no matter what happened to them, and that is just it's hard. Like for being an avid fan of true crime, like this is stuff that I spend a lot of my time listening to and things like that. But it is never easy to hear about children getting hurt, and so my heart breaks for those people, like for those parents who had to die not knowing what happened to their children. Um, I think I agree with you that there's a lot that could go either way for most of the suspects. I do think that the individual that had the purse that looked like Jane's purse, that is really suspicious to me. It's especially suspicious that his wife would have thrown it away. And that it was in the basement and stuff. Even though she would have just bought it. Like that to me is weird.
Yeah, so
But
I do think out of all of them, from at least what I saw, the best case was put for Harry Phipps, but that could be right, that could be wrong. There's a whole book on it, and I'll have to read it at some point. Maybe you should read it too.
yeah. Wow. That's really sad though.
Yeah, so we'll conclude it here. If any of you have any information somehow, we will have the link and number to call to report anything, as this is still an open case for both the Adelaide Oval disappearances and the Beaumont Children disappearance.
Yeah.
I know it's unlikely that any of you will have anything, but I will put it there just in case, by some small chance, someone listening does have some more information. That would be greatly appreciated to the authorities in Australia.
Yeah. Or if you know someone who could have been at or around that beach in that time period, maybe see if they know anything.
Yep. So I think that's going to conclude it here for us. Um, Going to do our regular plug. Go check us out on socials. Like and follow the podcast, rate and review. Everything helps, and everything matters, and everything counts. Um,
Yeah.
Thankful for everyone who's listened already and everyone who's rated. We're at 14 reviews, rates on Spotify, 2 reviews on Apple Podcasts, and I really appreciate it, guys. Every single one of you guys mean a lot to us, and keep up the listening, and we'll keep up the episodes. I think after this one, we're going to go a bit more lighthearted on the next episode. And
Yeah.
I think Sage and I had this discussion. I'm not as good as true crime covering as she is, and she's not as good as cryptid covering as I am. So I think you're going to see a lot more true crime from her and a lot more cryptids from me.
But for this week and for next week, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. So
Yeah.
we're gonna be going somewhere cold next week.
Ooh, where's that?
You'll find out.
Is it outside in my car in the morning whenever it's not warmed up for work?
Yep, we're gonna take y'all with us on our way to work in the morning, and we're just gonna tell you how cold it is in the car.
Nice. All right, so I think that's it for today. So thank you everyone for listening.
Yep. All right.
And so don't forget, remember
To look for
the unknown
the unsolved.
and the unseen.
Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.